What is going on, everyone? Welcome back for another exciting travel vlog. Today we're in Gibsland, Louisiana, doing the full Bonnie and Clyde tour. In the most previous video, we just toured this, the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum. This was the cafe where Bonnie and Clyde had their very last meal before they died. He had a fried bologna sandwich and Bonnie had a BLT. So if you're interested in checking this out, we just did that full tour in the previous video. This video is going to be all about the death ride. So back on that faithful day, I believe it was May 23rd, 1934, Bonnie and Clyde stopped right here. As you can see, there's not much going on in this town. Gibsland, Louisiana is pretty small, but they stopped here at Mock Canfields, had their last meal, and then they went 7 miles down the road on 154, straight down that way. And we're going to take that exact same ride. We're gonna go to the death location. After the death location, we're gonna take the ride back up, see the building that Frank Hamer, who is one of the Texas Rangers who killed them, came up, made the call, and then we're gonna go to Arcadia, Louisiana, where they took Bonnie and Clyde's bodies. Gonna be a really cool journey. Without further ado, let's go. All right, so here we go. Not gonna record too much of this, but Bonnie and Clyde probably would have parked right back there, to be honest with you. And then they would have went 7 miles down this road, and that's where they would have came to their end. Man, taking the exact same road. Coming up to it, 0.8 miles, driving the exact same route they would have had. Man, I can't tell you how many times I viewed this on Google Maps, but this is it. The Texas and Louisiana officers would have been waiting down there, and just literally like this is the road right here. Bonnie and Clyde's car would have came just as we are. And there's people up there at the stop, but this is the road, man. I've been wanting to see this for so long, and now we're here. And where that truck is straight up ahead is the marker where it happened. Well, folks, we are here, but this is the road. This is the flipping spot. As soon as he's out of the way there, I'll show you the markers, but they would have came right down there as we did. So right here on the death road, these are the markers that they have. This site, May 23rd, 1934, Bonnie and Clyde killed by enforcement officers, which, man, I knew there was so many chunks taken out. People actually bring their handguns out here and shoot this, so that's pretty much what you're seeing there. And you know, you could sign it and this and that, but they like sandblast it every year. So yeah, I mean, most of this stuff is 2021, 22. Anything older than that, man, right? Oh, and this is these are the guys on this site. May 23rd, 1934, at 9:15 a.m., the infamous outlaws, Bonnie Park and Clyde Barrow, met their demise at the hands of these dedicated law enforcement officers, officials. Lest we forget these brave and vigilant conservators of the peace front left. Deputy Sheriff Robert Alcorn, Bineville Sheriff Henderson Jordan, and Texas Ranger Captain Frank Hamer, who was played by Kevin Costner in the movie The Highwaymen. Back left, Deputy Sheriff Ted Hinton, Chief Deputy Prentice Oakley, and Texas Ranger B.M. Galt, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, B.M. Galt, that was played by Woody Harrelson in The Highwaymen as well. Highly recommended. I've seen it like 5 times. It's still on Netflix as of the making of this video. And what's so cool is they filmed it right here, which we're going to talk about coming up as well. So how did this come to be the death spot of Bonnie and Clyde? Well, it was all kind of very strategically planned. So it wasn't just Bonnie and Clyde, obviously, it was the Barrow Gang. And the police officers met up with a father of one of the kids in Clyde's gang. And they kind of told them, they're like, hey, you know, this is what we're gonna do. We need you to help us capture them. So literally what he did was to save his son's life. Maybe he probably still went to jail, but to save his son's life rather than being killed like Bonnie and Clyde, the dad set up, he knew they were gonna come this way from this road. His dad set up his car right around here, acted like he had a flat tire. He knew Bonnie and Clyde were going to stop and make sure he was okay, because he knew them. They would stay at his house, this and that. Clyde actually bought his house for him. And long story short, they pulled up to see if the dad needed help. Then the sheriffs from right over here came out, and the death car would have probably been right about here. This is just something else. It's like I said, they would have came down this road, pulled right here. I believe the blind for the police officers was set up literally right over here. And then all the videos and photos you see of the death car would have been right around here. But let's go get a better look, see if we can find like the blind, where they set up the blind. So it's cool, like I said, if you have Netflix, make sure you look up The Highwaymen, starring Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson. They play the 2 Texas Rangers who chased and killed Bonnie and Clyde. So they actually came and filmed it here. Filmed it right in here. And we're gonna go take a look. So like I said, Kevin Costner, Woody Harrelson, the whole crew would have been set up right in here. And I do believe the car would have came out here, and Kevin Costner's character, Frank Hamer, who probably, you know, in real life, same thing happened, he would have walked out here. Hopefully I can find some pictures or something, or videos on YouTube and share them, but would have walked right out here. And then Bonnie and Clyde, some reports say 130 rounds, other reports say over 300 rounds would have got hit right here, man. And what's cool is too, during the filming, so you see how obviously it's a regular road and there's so much room on both sides, like, you know, there's tons of room, the woods go all the way back. In the film, they wanted to make it look exactly like it did in 34, so they covered the whole road with dirt and fake trees and bushes and this and that from, you know, the Hollywood side. They filled them in on both sides, so you can't even see the markers over there at all. But it came really close to the road, just exactly how it would have looked back then. Oh, and look at this. Here's a car coming. It's exactly how Bonnie and Clyde would have came, and I would have been standing right about where the police officers were standing. Man, this is like in real time what would have happened. They would have stopped right in front of me, and then boom. All right, folks, Wanted to give you one last shot before we go to our next location. What started off as a nice morning, Bonnie and Clyde having their final meals at the cafe, ended up down here dead. Now, what happened next? Obviously, all the photos was taken, the video was taken, police officers came out, removed all the guns. Then Frank Hamer, who was the main man on this journey, the lead, went back up the road to where we just were at the cafe. He went to the old gas station, made a phone call to Texas saying we got him. We're gonna take the same exact route back and we're going to that spot. Let's go. All right, so this is the way back pretty much that the officers would have went with the car, as well as Frank Hamer heading back to, like I said, the Gibsland, Louisiana, where he made the phone call, and that is where we're going next. Well, we are back in Gibsland. This was the Ambush Museum where we stopped at. Like I said in the previous video, where Bonnie and Clyde had their final meal. Frank Hamer would have came back this same way, made a left, and it still stands to this day. I'm gonna park over here. The gas station where he made that final call. Let's go check it out. So we were last year in a small town called Abbott, Texas, to see the hometown and the house where Willie Nelson lives in. My wife just said this very much reminds her of it, and absolutely. I mean, Gibsland is very tiny, but it's so quiet, which I love. It was pretty busy actually at the death site, but right up here, after Bonnie and Clyde were killed, they took all the guns out, they made their videos. Frank Hamer, who's played by Kevin Costner in The Highwaymen, would have drove right up here. It's about a 10-minute drive north of the Bonnie and Clyde death spot. Would have stopped at this exact gas station, which looks like it had some modifications to it, but it's an historic site. And right here, man, from the payphone where you are standing, Texas Ranger Frank Hamer called Colonel Lee Simmons and said, "The job is done. Bonnie and Clyde are dead. The bodies will be in Arcadia, but none of the officers were injured and it's over." Little did the officers realize the real story will live forever, owned by James Durham. So somebody still owns this gas station today. It is really falling apart, but it's a historic site. Look at these, man. These pumps are so old, but they're so cool. Man, right here. And what's cool is, if you watched my previous video when we toured the Bonnie and Clyde Ambush Museum, the phone that was right there, they have it in the museum, which is literally like, all right, gas station's right here, Ambush Museum right there. So if you're gonna do one, you might as well do the other. Yeah, this is Frank Hamer. The job is done. Bonnie and Clyde are dead. The gas station is still here. Would you call it a filling station back then? I guess. Gas station. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. But yeah, the phone that was right there is in Ambush Museum. So, man, all right. Well, we have one more location to go. Started pretty much Bonnie and Clyde's full final day alive. Eating at the restaurant, the death spot. Frank Hamer came here to make the phone call. Now we're going about 10 to 15 minutes northeast. We're heading to Arcadia, Louisiana. That's where Bonnie and Clyde's bodies were taken in the death car, towed through the streets. People grabbing inside the windows, taking this now. We'll talk more about it there, but that's where we're going. We're going to go see the building. It's no longer there, but the location of where they were embalmed and that whole thing where their bodies were taken. So, come along, let's go. We're approaching Arcadia, Louisiana. This is the exact same route we're taking that the tow truck would have been towing the death car with the dead bodies of Bonnie and Clyde inside. Alrighty, we have made it to our final location today. I will say, I know on YouTube and I see videos, people get to they go to the death spot. There's been people at the ambush museum. However, I've not seen one other YouTuber come to this spot right here. So I'll be the first, that's fine. This is where Bonnie and Clyde's bodies ended up. We're in Arcadia, Louisiana, about 12 minutes outside of Gibsland. And it's an empty spot today. There is a marker there. But this is where the building was, where Bonnie and Clyde's bodies were to be embalmed, and the full coroner's report and everything happened all right here. So let's go take a look. Arcadia, Louisiana. Back in the day, this town was hopping. Not so much today. It's kind of like Gibsland. It's almost like a little bit of a ghost town. But yeah, right here, this would have been the building Bonnie and Clyde's bodies were taken to, and now it's been obviously torn down and made into a little park. But they do have memorial straight ahead. I believe that talks about something related to Bonnie and Clyde. Oh, here we go. Enforcement officers who participated in the ambush of the notorious outlaws Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker. Frank Hammer, Manny Goltz, Ted Hinton. Fun fact, if you didn't know, so there was a man and a woman that Bonnie and Clyde kidnapped. Funny enough, the man who they kidnapped, he was a coroner, and Bonnie made the joke of, oh, it would be funny if you worked on me someday. And how twisted and messed up it was. That's exactly what happened. The coroner just happened to work at the funeral home right here, and he was part of the coroner's reports and the autopsy and that entire process, embalming and all that. Oh, and my wife told me too that the embalming process was very difficult for Bonnie and Clyde. I'll have to throw in some videos or photos too, but just I'm not exactly sure what street it was on. It could have been this one. It could have been the street up from here. But either way, one of these streets here is where the bodies of Bonnie and Clyde were towed through the town. This was that town. And during that time, for whatever reason, they had the windows open. So I guess, so the people could actually see that Bonnie and Clyde were dead. And, you know, there's people trying to cut off Clyde's gunner finger, his ears, Bonnie's hair, their clothes, and people got, you know, pieces of their clothes and Bonnie's hair and this and that. But that all happened right here in Arcadia, Louisiana. And then, like I said, they were taken to the building that used to be right here. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed another Bonnie and Clyde video. I don't know how many more of these I can do, but if you're interested in my Bonnie and Clyde Dallas locations video, I'll leave a link down below. Make sure you go check that out. We go visit their graves, where they worked, where they killed police officers, that whole thing, all in Dallas. Leave a link down below. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you all next time on the Travel Channel. Take care.